miniature figures, plastic minifigures, which are 1/72 scale or 25mm. They're quite small. This video I put together is to give you an idea, if you're an enthusiast and you're into painting these little figures, an idea on what I use for basing the figures, a base that I put them on. I used to use cardboard, but I didn't find it sturdy or strong enough for the figure. So many years ago I decided to use these things, metal washers. They're galvanised, they don't rust, relatively light. The only problem is they got a hole through the middle, but the stands on most plastic figures will fit over the hole once they're glued on. Now, the reason I chose these metal washers to base these figures is because I found that these figures are not very stable. In actual fact, they will, at times they will fall over, and if you've just been placing quite a few figures out on a War Games board and they all start to fall down because somebody bangs the board, then catastrophe. So what I'm intending to do in this video is just give you an idea on how I base these figures on a metal washer, which are relatively cheap. You can get them in most DIY stores and buy them in a bag. This bag here, when it was full, cost about €3. So not exactly over expensive, but to me a practical way to base these figures. Process involves gluing the figure to the base. The bases are primed. Actually, I do prime these with an undercoat, spray undercoat, prior to gluing, and once they're fixed on, you've got a figure which you can plonk down on the table very quickly. It doesn't tip over, and it's a stable base. There's no, the thing that put me off about cardboard is continually cutting around with a pair of scissors, your piece of cardboard, and you know, time wasting. Whereas the washers are there, they're sturdy, they're wet, they're heavy, you know. So oh dear, it fell over. That's not meant to happen. But anyway, yeah, as you can see, 9 times out of 10, if I'm trying to put this figure down like that, it's bouncing all over the place. Whereas this is relatively stable. Right, I got one that I've finished. You can see that. That's an ESCI figure, British Line Infantry from the Battle of Waterloo, and placed this on a stand. This is the washer, and as I go through the process of showing you what I do with the stand to build this up with various materials to give it a sort of a scenery effect, a ground effect. I think it's quite effective. I'm pleased with it. So what I'll do is I'll show you how I start off the process until we come up with the finished article. Okay, so we'll see you in a bit. Okay, here we are. 4 washers that I've cleaned up already, just in case there's any sort of grease or dirt on them. I've cleaned them up with some white spirit and a cloth. So they're degreased. What I do is put them on a piece of cardboard like this, and then give them a spray with an undercoat. It's just a matte undercoat that you can get in any DIY store or hobby shop. So I'm going to go over now to the spray booth. I'm not going to spray them in this room because I won't be too popular. So I'm going to go to the spray booth, spray these up, bring them back, and then we'll go through the gluing process of putting the figure onto the washer. Okay, right, let's go do some spraying. Okay, here we are in the spray booth. Just shaking the paint up at the moment. This is the undercoat. It's a matte undercoat. Now just give the figures a coat of paint. I said figures, didn't I? Washers. We haven't got that far yet. Just give the washers an undercoat. Make sure I get it all around the edges. When you finish spraying, turn the tin upside down until the paint sprays out, and that's one surefire way of cleaning the nozzle and not getting any blockages. Well, we'll leave those to dry, and we'll go back and we'll start gluing those later on when they've dried. Right, back with the washers. They're all dry now, and the undercoat's gone off really well on there, giving a good surface to glue to. Before putting the glue on and gluing these figures to the washer, what I do is put a bit of tape behind, so it doesn't allow the glue to squeeze right through the hole. So it's a quite an easy process. Just put the tape on, leave a little tab at the end so you can peel it off once it's all dried. I'm only going to do 3. So there you go. Then, before I go on, I'll tell you about the glue I use. You can use whatever glue you want really, that you find convenient. But this is a contact adhesive used in the building trade, and I use it when I'm constructing small buildings and dioramas and wanting to glue cardboards together and stuff like this. It's when it goes off, it's fantastic. It really is a strong glue. It's Bostik MS108. It comes in a tube like this, and there's quite a bit in there, 290 millilitres. It goes a long way, especially if you're working with small stuff. So that's the glue I use, Bostik, and I'll just get a little applicator like this. Pick up one of your washers with the tape on the back. Place a figure. Make sure it's glued on correctly. Always have a bit of toilet paper or kitchen paper around to get the glue off your fingers. Right, that's a figure now glued to the base. Later on, with another video I've got, I'll show you how you can decorate the base, which is like a plaster and PVA mix, to finish off the base. And if you have got quite large fingers like mine, it's quite difficult to hold these miniatures, but not a problem. I persevere. So anyway, later on, like I said in another video, I'll show you how to decorate these bases. We'll do another. Take off a bit of adhesive, pick up your washer, pop it in the middle. That's a technical term, plop. I need a bit more there. Right, take another figure. Move it around, make sure the glue is all over the base. Now you can see, contact adhesive. That's holding the washer on now. That's another one done. So you obviously get used to this, you can get quicker at it, so it's not such a labour intensive job. Smooth off any lumps. Another one done. Again, use your paper, tissue to keep your fingers clean. There's one that I prepared earlier, but without the tape. This stuff is the MS108 is very sticky, very sticky. It's like, and it's a bit like paint, so you've got to be careful you don't get it all over yourself, or all over the place. Put the tape on again. I'm going to apply a bit more glue. I always like to leave a bit of a point on the glue as I pull it out with the spatula. Place the figure down, squash it down, make sure it's evenly, make sure it's central as well to the stand. Smooth off any edges. Again, stuck to it straight away. Not quite in the centre of this one. And there you have it. Like I said, you can make sure you put a tab, you leave a tab with a scotch tape to peel this off at the end when it's dry. Leave this for about 4 hours and then you're ready to start undercoating. Now these guys, these two here, these are British infantry, line infantry from Waterloo. They're ESCI figures. You can't get these figures any longer. They were produced back in the 80s, and to me they're excellent plastic figures for the time. The detail is very, very good. They're a clean figure. There's not a lot of flashing around the edges of the figure after the injection moulding process, so you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours cutting away all the plastic, which is a problem with plastic figures. This is the box they came in. I believe these are 1988. My task is to paint two armies, obviously the English Waterloo infantry, Scots and British infantry, English infantry. So that's something I'll be doing later on when I get to priming the figures. That's one I've started. Obviously, if you have a look, that's the base, the metal washer, and I've covered that in like I said, a plaster mix with PVA, and then that's painted a green colour for the base, and then later on, as you can see, the decor is placed on there. You can put whatever you want on there. A lot of people use static grass. I tend to use these little bits of moss and stuff, and that's the interesting bit about figure painting, is when you finish painting, you actually get to finish off the base, which is another piece of added value to the figure's overall look. So there we go. These guys now be put away to dry for 4 hours. Talking about priming, this one has already been primed with PVA and a white acrylic solution, and that gives what I would consider a decent base coat prior to painting on acrylics or Umbro enamel. But anyway, the next video I'll be talking about the actual painting process, and how I go ahead and paint my figures. So thanks for spending the time to watch this video. I hope it's been interesting and it's given you an idea. And well, hope to see you soon. Take care. Cheers for now.